Okay, and here's our last section, 2-2, interior angles of a triangle. By the way, it would probably help if I were to spell triangle correctly. Alright, so let's look at example 1, and it says here that we have a triangle with two angles of degrees 38 and 17. And we want to find this missing third angle. So what would we have to know? Well, I want you to know this. The interior angles of a triangle always, how often? Always add up to 180 degrees. So if I know that all three angles always have to add up to 180 degrees, whether it's a fact that you guys need to learn, it's something you need to memorize. If I know that they always add up to 180, well, what can I do with these two angles? I can add them up. I can say, okay, well, what is 38 plus 17? Well, let's see, 38 plus 17, well, 8 plus 7 would be 15. And 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And they add up to be 55 degrees. Okay, so from there, look, if these two angles both add up to 55, all I then have to do is 180 minus that value, 55. And of course, we're going to find out that this is 125 degrees. Now, as always, you should assess, did Mr. Hastings draw this picture correct? And the answer is no. This triangle would actually look something like this, where, okay, there's 17, and okay, there's 38, and then you get this big, obtuse angle, 125. Now, bad, Mr. Hastings. All right, let's move on to example number 2. Now, why is example number 2 special? Well, because it looks like, at a first glance, that they are only giving you one angle. But wait a second. Don't we know what this box means? It means that this is a right triangle, and of course this is going to be 90 degrees. And thank you, semi-trailer truck, for interrupting my video. Now, let's check it out. So we know the 22, we know the 90, and of course we're going to add those up. 22 plus 90 is going to be 112. I think. Yeah, that's right. 112. Now we know that that's this and this, but now we got to find y. So we can write 180 minus 112, and of course, a little subtraction by hand. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 2 is, or 7 minus 1 is 6. And it looks like our missing angle y would say y is equal to 68 degrees. Now, notice, did Mr. Hastings draw this triangle correctly? Yeah, actually he did. So, good job, Mr. Hastings. Okay, let's move on to a third example. Okay, here we have example 3, and I made sure to draw the triangle correctly this time. And so, of course, we have 131, we have 20, and we have z. And we want to find out how many degrees is that missing angle z. Well, of course, I can do 131 plus 20. I add up my two angles that I know. And, of course, 1 plus 0 is 1, 3 plus 2 is 5, and I draw my 1. And so this altogether, that altogether is 151 degrees. Well, to find z, I know all three angles of a triangle add up to 180, so I'll do 180 minus 151, which of course, 10 minus 1 gives us 9, 7 minus 5 is 2, and so angle z is equal to 29 degrees. Now, if you feel like you got this, because this is fairly easy, then I would like for you to go start working on the problems. However, if you're curious in knowing a very simple math theorem, example 4 is just going to be kind of for you kids who are just a little bit more curious about math and you would like to know things. So I'm going to show you why all three angles of a triangle add up to 180. Okay, so example 4, and this is just going to be a nice little theorem. Let's say I have this triangle, and I'm going to call this angle 1, and here's angle 2, and here's angle 3. Now, one of the things we learned in our 1-5 lesson is about auxiliary lines. An auxiliary line is something that we draw that is parallel to another line. In fact, it's going to be parallel to the base of this triangle. Okay, so here's my auxiliary line, here's my base, and I know that my auxiliary line is parallel to my base. Okay, cool. Now why is that helpful? Well, because, check it out, using a different color, this angle right here is an alternate interior angle with that angle right there. Which means, guess what? This angle right here and this angle right here are congruent. So however big angle 3 is, well, that angle is also 3. Okay. Now let's use a different color. Oh, let's use this nice red. If this is 2, angle 2, well, check it out. This is also going to be the same because it's another alternate interior angle. And now we notice something. We notice that our auxiliary line is a straight line, which means that angle 2 plus angle 1 plus angle 3 all have to add up to be 180 degrees. Alright? And that is probably the first simple math theorem that you've ever learned. Alright? I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys in our next lesson.